Python. Often labeled as lazy person's programming language, it was created by Guido van Rossum with the hope of making programming easy to learn with simpler syntax and to get rid of this piece of code. He released Python in 1991 with all of these ambitions, and almost 33 years after its release, it has become one of the most widely used and highest paying programming language, and of course a worthy opponent of Jake Paul. And because of Python's versatility, it is used in almost every field. From web development, data science, machine learning, game development, cybersecurity, IoT, scientific computing, and even
if someone's playing chess and they have an anal bead that gives them signals.
Python APIs. That's a lot of vibration.
So to get started with Python, you create a variable, which is as simple as setting up a name and assigning whatever value you want. The best part is you don't have to specify the type of variable.
Are you serious right now, bro?
And because of Python's dynamic nature, it makes creating lists, dictionary, tuples, floats as easy as it sounds. Also, you don't need a semicolon to end a line, or you don't need curly brackets to define code blocks. Instead, you will use indentation or 4 spaces. This definitely makes the code more readable, but sometimes you literally have to use a measuring tape or scale. Speaking from my personal experience. Next, we have loops. Loop helps to iterate through a sequence of characters. For example, using the range function, you can create a sequence of numbers, and with a for loop, you can iterate over it. You can also iterate through lists, tuples, strings, dictionaries, basically any iterable object. And to accompany for loop so it doesn't feel lonely, we have while loop. It is slightly different as it executes a block of code as long as a given condition is true. For example, in this case, it checks if I is less than 5, and once I is no longer less than 5, the code execution stops. Next are functions, which are blocks of code that execute specific tasks. You can create a function by simply using the def keyword followed by the function name. If your function takes any argument, you can define them inside this parenthesis. For example, this function takes your name and a greeting. And by default, if you haven't entered any greeting, it will greet you with hello. Or take this function as an example, which returns the sum of 2 numbers. And one of the best thing about Python functions is that you can integrate Python functions with constructors like map, which applies a function to each item in iterable. Then there is filter, which filters item based on if the function returns true. Next is the most important topic, OOPS, object-oriented programming, where you have a class which is like a blueprint. Okay, I know it sounds confusing, so let me explain. Inside a class, you define variables, but then they will be called attributes. Similarly, you can define functions inside a class, but then they will be called methods. Using various attributes and methods, you define a class. Then you can create an object of a class. From that object, you can access all the attributes and methods that is defined in the class. By the way, objects are in a fancy way called instances. You can create as many instances as you like until your computer crashes or worse. That's Python in a nutshell. I hope you learned something because I compressed a 12-hour long video into 4 minutes. That's why check out my unbeatable tic-tac-toe AI video. Seriously, no one has watched it. Or maybe this video, YouTube says you might like it.